Welcome to the KEYPOINT this week, a TV show where we dive deep into conversations aimed at driving action and impact. Join us on today's episode of empathy, of understanding, and also the complexities of the mind. So I have here in the studios to break the silence and share the spotlight on mental health support, mental health awareness and support. I have Ms. Vera Peace Ahaji, who is the founder and president of Hands From Above. I have Ms. Ocean Jaku, who is a mind education trainer, and Mr. Seram Adiakpo, head of programs, monitoring and evaluation at Togo. He is a regular on the show, so I'm sure you already know him. So they are going to be helping us discuss the topic for today. I am your host, Jerry Etonam Atiobe. Now, we don't want to waste much time. I'll be starting with Mr. Seram on this one because I feel like most of the time when I go out, I see maybe more people with issues of mental health to be male than female. It's not to be biased, though. I'm just trying to put the point across. So, Mr. Seram, when we talk about mental health, how can we understand that?
Mental health is it's a state of well-being that allows you to reach out or face the life stressors or the life issues. So, mental health is like the mental part of the health, so you have to take care about it also.
So Miss Peace,
I would just say it in a simple way as being the health of our brain. Mental health is when our brain is working in the right way. So I can also add by saying that it's a state of emotional, behavioral well-being that helps us to face the challenges of life, and that also helps us to do our daily activities being fulfilled and happy. That's it.
Any additions?
Yes. In addition to that, I would say it refers to our thoughts, our feelings, our emotion, the way we handle stress and we cope with the life challenges that we face.
So there are 2 or 3 key things. First of all, the health of the brain. I mean, that's what gives us the ability to think and then to exercise. And secondly, the way we are able to handle stress and the challenges that we face in life. Because I nearly thought mental health got more to do with when people are not local in the mind. That's the understanding I think most people may have. But as we are on the platform, we are going to try to enlighten people much more on it. Now, you spoke about stress, the health of the brain, but somebody will ask, well, I mean, we are in Africa. So what at all could be that much that, or how and when? I want to start with you on this one. How and when do you detect that mental health? Like there's an issue there.
Okay. So as we just said, mental health is a state of well-being, and there is mental illness that has to do with disorders and illnesses. So when and how do we recognize someone that has a mental illness or someone that has a mental health issue? First of all, when someone doesn't feel okay in himself, when you're having relational problems, you have problems with dealing with your own emotions, it means that you have a mental health problem. That doesn't mean that you are sick or you are having an illness, but you are just not okay in yourself. And with that, you can try to seek help, better to understand your emotions and know how to react to challenges and etc. Now, how do you recognize that? There are so many ways. First of all, we can think of when someone, there are some people, they with no reason, they start feeling like they are scared. There is this fear that is in their heart. Most times I give example of right now we are here. If a lion gets here, we'll all get scared. And some people, without seeing the lion, they have that same fear in their heart, and they are just scared and they don't know how to explain it. And that kind of thing, that's what we call most times anxiety. And that's what people are just, some people they have panic attacks due to those kind of emotions that they have, and mainly it is emotional issues. Okay, and another thing would be someone that doesn't sleep enough. When you don't sleep enough, you start, getting tired. As I said, it's the brain, and when your brain is tired, you can't do your activities being fulfilled and happy, etc. So that's another thing. One other way that we can recognize someone that is having a mental health issue. The person is most times, retracting himself, isolating himself, or the person is going through some kind of trauma. When something happens to you and that has traumatized you, you start retracting or isolating yourself from the crowd, and you lose your motivation to do the activities that you used to do with happiness before. So those are like a few things I can share or about how to recognize someone that has a mental health issue. Not that the person is sick, but the person is having a mental health issue.
I like the emphasis on not the person feeling sick.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Sayro?
In our African culture, when we come to mental health or mental illness or mental sickness, we always think about madness.
I mean,
Yes, we
I
always
think I said that equally earlier,
Yeah, we always think about that. But there is another issues that we can talk about, like you are not feeling well. And also, the second one can be also the addiction. So people who are addicted to alcohol or social media or our smartphones, that in a certain level can be considered as a mental issue.
Okay.
And another aspect is also the fact someone can feel heard voice. They hear voices.
They hear voices in their
and
head.
also feels emotions, feel odors, or feels anything that normal person can't feel.
Okay.
That's also an issue. I think she has.
Miss Ocean, any submissions?
Apart from the trouble in maybe the feelings we have and the thinking, I must say even in your eating habits, if something is going wrong, then maybe when I'm stressed, I cannot eat.
Okay.
But normally I should eat at that time. So that's also a way we can recognize mental health issue.
Wow. So, but this, I think most of the submissions will make maybe more centered on one person as an individual. But how would you be able to detect some of those patterns in another person? How would you do that? Oh, you go ahead.
Yeah, so most times to recognize those signs, as I said, someone that doesn't sleep, when you notice that you live with someone that doesn't sleep and the person wakes up or the person just tells you, I sleep just like 2 hours a night, you are like, the person is probably going through a lot. And, stress can make you not sleep. And when you are stressed, you are not in a good mental health. Right now we are here, I can get the bad news, and I would my mental health, maybe right now I may feel I'm okay, my mental health is really okay, but with the bad news and the stress I'll be feeling on the moment, my mental health will not be okay. So it's just to put an emphasis on the fact that when we are talking about mental health, everyone is concerned. It's just that some people may be able to develop some kind of
Antidote for it.
and some kind of strength, inward strength to face those kind of challenges. Yeah.
Any submissions on that? Now we are Africans, so let's bring the matter home. I said initially that when we talk about mental health, without the explanations we just did, somebody might think, like he said, like the person is getting mad and stuff. So imagine in a classroom where there's a child who is shouting on top of his or her voice, or everybody's sleeping, he or she is the only one who is going about. Somebody might think the child is being stubborn, was not well raised, but for all we know, it could just be a state of mind that is not as calm as the other people at that moment. So bringing it back again, what are some of the cultural attitudes or beliefs that influence the way we as individuals perceive mental health?
Yeah, for us, like you said, we don't really consider it like something really serious here. We can even say that maybe it's a curse here in Africa, but it's something real, something concerning every one of us. So instead of being separated from that person, we should approach him and make him know that he's not alone, that we can help him. Yeah, so it's okay not to be okay.
Exactly.
It's okay not to. You have any other additions?
What was the question again?
I'm referring to the cultural beliefs and attitudes that influence the way we perceive.
Yes, because here in Africa already, like, we are using the word mad. Most times I always say we never use that word. That word is, banished in our organization. We never use that word because it brings stigma. When someone is sick and you call him mad, the person, someone that is next to him and that is going through the same thing would never want to talk about his feelings or what he's going through, because he'll be scared of being tagged as being mad. Because mad, we've used it so much as an insult. Small thing like, hey, are you mad? So nobody wants to be called mad. So we need to be really careful with those words. And Africa, most times Africa is really, we put a lot of things, we surround it with spirituality. We always say it has to do with spirituality and everything. So when we see someone that starts manifesting a little bit of symptoms, of or unusual behaviors, we automatically say this person is either possessed, or the person is, or the person has done something wrong, and
the punishment is coming.
Exactly. Wow. It's mainly punishment. Mental health is so much associated with punishment, curses, all those kind of things. And in the end, people are so scared of, opening up about such feelings or such things they are going through.
But in part, I think maybe it may stem out of how things were perceived maybe before our era, if I can put it that way, because it could be true that maybe there's some element of truth in the sense that maybe you have done something. I think I quite remember when I was young, I was told you don't put your hand in a twin pot. So when you put it, something will happen, or at a particular time you don't do this. If you do it, something will happen. Sometimes it could be a result of that, but I think nowadays it goes beyond the fact of just associating it with.
Exactly, and a lot of people that are going through mental health today didn't necessarily do something. Sure. The stresses of life. The truth is that the more days are going by, years are going by, life is becoming harder and harder. And things are happening. People are not understanding. We are not prepared. So when it comes, we are just using the little strength we have to face it. And sometimes it's okay, as she said, it's okay not to be okay. It's so okay not to be okay. And in Africa, we are like, when someone starts to see a psychologist, we are like, first of all, when the person reaches the illness, we are like, the person is possessed. But when the person is just going through mental health issues and the person really needs to speak to a psychologist or a mental health professional to be able to come out of that kind of situation, we are like, you are behaving like a white person, So in the end, it's like you don't need to go to the psychologist or a mental health professional, but at the same time, when you get ill, people will push you aside and say you are possessed.
You want to add anything on that? So, Mr. Seyram?
From my end, I think they had already said it. In Africa, the perception is quite different. So we just have to sensitize each other. If you have issues, you just have to talk.
Okay, let me start with you on this one. She spoke about the stigma.
Yeah.
What are some, apart from the fact that you will be tagged as a mad person or somebody who is possessed, what are some of the other stigma that are surrounding mental health issues, and how do we actually break them?
In our societies, we have norms, and we consider people shall behave in some manner or within the rooms. So when it comes to people who are not behaving like people we expect them to do, it's become like the person is getting mad. I'm sorry, but it's the reality. So actually, you just have to sensitize people. If you are not feeling well, you just have to talk to someone. Yeah.
Any submission from you?
I would say other stigmas that come through is that a lot of people believe that people having mental illness they don't know that when the person is stabilized, the person can still live a normal life. So the moment they say you have gone to the mental hospital or the psychiatric hospital, nobody. They can associate with you, but the moment you start getting angry about something or you are expressing something that you didn't,
remind you.
They are like, hey, it's like the thing is waking up again in here. We have to, So
there is also the issue of disability. We consider the person like
a disabled person,
person that can't do anything, that can't have a job, etc., etc.
And it's so difficult for us to relate with those kind of people, especially when the person has been sick, has been on the road, like the person has really gone through the illness. We feel like the person can never come back to society. So that person, we are like, it's like one person that we helped, we took out of the streets, and we helped. Today she's okay, and she was supposed to start a business. She was like, I'm scared because if I do food, nobody will buy my food. Because they are like, people will be like, I don't want to eat your food because I don't want to become like you were, you know.
I think we should normalize the subject of mental health issues because it's something which can happen to any one of us. So instead of waiting till maybe big signs show up, we should be careful to our emotions, to our feelings, to our thinking, so that anytime we feel a change in our thinking, in our feeling, or in the way we are behaving, then we start to speak out. Not the reason here why we should speak is to be how can I say? Yes, to release some burden on ourselves, like to be able to say everything that we are going through, like maybe our happiness or something who is really stressing us. We should have someone that we really trust, and we talk about what we are going through. That will help us a lot. We not like.
But the way our civilization is going, I'm not sure that will be a reality, because...
Hold on to that point for me on this one. So viewers, you can follow the Key Point every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Catch a repeat same time on Sundays, and also on the New World TV playlist on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook as well, Key Point with double I. We'll be going for a quick break. We'll be right back. So welcome back from the break. We are on mental health awareness and support. I have in the studios Miss Peace Vera Ahaji, Miss Ocean Jaku, and Mrs. Seram Adiakpo. They have been very helpful in giving us much more information, much more insight on the topic. But one thing that we need to take into consideration is that mental health awareness conversations have to be integrated into our everyday conversations. So back in the studios, we are moving now to my very next questions. We want to look at, well, maybe we'll just go a bit over that. What are some of the major challenges we face when we are dealing with mental health? It could be the person who is attained with the mental health. It could be somebody who knows about mental health of another person. How do we deal with that? I think you were speaking about stigma earlier. You could quickly wrap up on that. And then
yes, I was talking about... She has raised a point about the fact that we have to talk. We have to talk to people, not being alone. But actually... from my end, the way our civilization is going on, it will be difficult to keep it. So you have to also sensitize people to have a friend or someone.
Sometimes even the person you are talking to may already have some of the burdens that she was trying to talk about that we should release, which will also be another problem. But I don't think it should still exempt us from having the conversation, actually, because it's very important. I think we should probably also develop the attitude of, well, I've spoken about it, I am free. Whatever that person wants to do with that information probably wouldn't really matter to you, though it can still affect you, though. But now let's move on to some of the challenges when dealing with mental health. It could be you as the person who is going through it. It could be you as the person who is trying to give the support, or maybe a relative of yours who has the issue. So I want to start with you on this one.
I think the biggest challenge is the stigma, as we spoke now, because both the person who is affected or the person who has one person around him who is affected, everything can change by the way we are treating that person. And the way we are treating the person comes from what we perceive. So first of all, we should also take it really serious, as we are saying till now, that it's like the way we are considerating health, physical health, we should also considerate mental health the same way. And as I said, we should also care about the person, the people around us at any time, even though the person maybe is laughing. maybe he's going through a challenge that you can't know. You can't just guess like that. So we should go approach those people and, have some conversations. And even us, because everyone is going through challenges,
Sure.
we should speak. The problem here is, I think, maybe the shame. The shame of what people will say.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm well dressed and I'm saying I'm going through this problem. That's not the point, because I'm looking for a solution. So if opening up is the solution for me, then I will do it.
Sure.
So we should go above that. Yeah, for me.
Okay, so Miss, please.
I would say some other challenges that I can add to what she said is we always tell people to speak up, and I believe I'm one of the first people to always say it's important to speak up, because emotions are like garbage. We have garbage and we need to take it out. We can't keep garbage in us. It's not good. But at the same time, by telling someone to speak up, it's important also to find someone to trust that we can speak up. Our society and the way we are educated in Africa doesn't permit us to really express our emotions. We were not taught how to talk about emotions, but the way life is going on right now, if you want to keep it to yourself, you become sick. So it's important to speak up, but then you need to find people that you trust, that you can talk to. And today we have so many mental health professionals that are there that you can open up to if you don't find anyone to speak up to on the moment, So, and one thing also that we need to really emphasize on is by asking people to become people that are trustworthy. Yeah. Today, if you don't find someone there are some things that are creating the mental health issues, like situations that you are going through, things that maybe you are scared of talking about. As she said, it's things that are shameful most of the time, or makes you vulnerable. So
I think the word vulnerability,
when the thing makes you feel vulnerable, it's difficult to talk about it to everyone. I can't come on TV to talk about it. I can't talk about it to any of you people because I'm not close to you.
Exactly,
so it's like I need to find someone that either goes through the same thing as me, or someone that really I feel won't judge me. Is the fear of being judged. So it's important that we become people that are trustworthy, so that tomorrow when I find myself in the same situation, I'm sure to find someone that I can speak to. Because if I'm someone that talks about everybody's problem everywhere, then we attract to ourselves what we are. So we need to be careful. So one of the challenges really, it's the fact that we do not have people that we can talk to, and that people that we can trust. But the good news is that we have so many mental health professionals that we can go close to and talk about our burdens and really work on getting better, so that we can really have a better day in our society. Also, I would like to add the fact that other challenges can be the fact that when someone is going through mental illness, today a lot of people lack funds. They don't have enough to pay when they go to hospital, or they go and see a mental health professional. So they fear, because when they hear psychologists and things, they believe it's expensive. Some of them are like, I don't have that kind of money. Because when you go to a psychologist, for instance, he's not going to give you medication. So a lot of people feel like, what am I doing just sitting down there and listening to somebody and just talking? Like, I don't feel like I need to pay this amount of money for that. So
I used to be one of those people who think going to sit down and talk with him.
Exactly. So those things we need to really work on, raising awareness on this mental health field, so that people know that there are people there that can help you. Some people, you don't need to be sick before going to a psychologist. Just like I have relational problems, I can go and see a psychologist because I get to know myself better, and it's easier for me to face challenges from there.
I would like to highlight 2 points there. The first one is the cultural challenge, the way people are considering mental health, and in Africa particularly. And the second is the ability for ourselves to recognize that we are not feeling well, or we are feeling bad, and we have to see a specialist or a mental health specialist, professional like psychologist. So seeing a psychologist in our culture is like, you are getting mad. I'm saying it again.
You're really stressing on that aspect of.
So it's very important, because you have to push it back. It's very important. Yeah.
Ms. Ocean, any submissions on this one? Okay. Now we are talking about this more generally, but we need to find a way to improve the access. Maybe we have those people, maybe we have that person we can trust, but we need to have that access to those people. Let me even use the context of the workplace. Because maybe at home, somebody might think, well, I have my brother who is close to me, my mom or my dad. And maybe in terms of external relationship, maybe I have my best friend, I have my this, my that. But in the workplace, for example, with all the professional difficulties and stress, in a workplace, how can we improve access to? Because I don't know if there is, well, I haven't worked anywhere where there's a psychologist or therapist in a company. So how can we improve access to?
I would like to start. The place of work is the place we spend more of our time.
Sure.
And what happens at that place affects durably our lives. So in most of times in our workplaces, we are facing challenges most of the times, not only work challenge or professional challenges, but also challenges linked to relationships with our colleagues.
Yeah.
And also the way our work is evaluated. And that are factors that can affect our mental health. And also for that we have to address that. It is important to promote people, give them value, tell them they are good, tell them they are professional, tell them they can do something. And it's also important to recognize people's abilities, because some of the times the charge of work is bigger than the ability of the person. People, because they want the job, they say that they are good, they can do it. When the time comes to work, the time comes to face the issue, is difficult. So we have to recognize. But for that, we need to have good managers that knows that the work can be a factor for mental illness. I would like to also talk about burnout, but I will let the professional.
Well, from her speech, we could already deduce she's an expert in the field. So in the context of the workplace, or maybe even beyond the workplace, how do we improve access to mental health resources?
I think it's important. Right now, you said you've never worked somewhere where there's a psychologist. That's something that we need to improve. It needs to be, we need to have psychologists, and we need to be open, because today we have a lot of mental health professionals that are not doing anything because most people don't know that they need to go to them. So it's very important to have psychologists, or at least to open access for our workers to be able to go to, or really recommend them, most times when they see that at least someone is going through a mental health challenge or stress or things like that, to really encourage them to go to such places, or at least organize from time to time events of mental health awareness, because there's something that is very important, is that today we are talking about mental health, but people need to know how to take care of their mental health. It's not only when you are going through a challenge that you need to start thinking of how to take care of yourself, but every day, in everyday life, the moment you start having little things that you do frequently, it makes you prepared when the challenges come. And that is what people need to do. The same way we take care of our physical health by doing exercise, eating healthy and things like that, we need to be doing the same for mental health, and be really intentional about it, knowing that I'm doing it for my well-being, for my mental well-being, and to learn to be able to step back when you feel that you can't. Right now, he said our abilities, some people, the charge is bigger than their abilities. But it's important, sometimes we are like, okay, for the money I'm going in. But when you do it for a while and you realize, okay, right now I really need a day off, or I need to really take some few days off, it's important to do so, because your well-being is more important. And that's why a lot of people are not really being productive in the office, because they just go and they are just doing the minimum, while the truth is that as human beings, our abilities are really huge. We can do more. We just need to be able to take care of ourselves so that we can do what we have to do.
I think that particular latter point speaks best to me, because I've been in the profession quite longer, but since I've came here, I think this is actually my first time going on leave in 7 years. You see. So it's very touchy on me when you talk about this. But I quite remember back in senior high school, we had a person that was termed as guidance and counseling. I think they also play a role.
Exactly.
But one thing I probably wouldn't want to omit, in hospitals, do we actually have people that deal with, I'm not talking about psychiatric, like general hospitals, do we have people that also deal with mental health when like patients come? I've not seen some before.
We do. We have psychologists in at least in Togo here right now. We have psychologists in almost all the public hospitals.
Okay.
So yeah.
So any submissions?
Yes, maybe they are not as much as the
general doctors.
But I think we have.
Okay. So talking about how improving access, any example you want to give us?
Yes, I think this week Move Africa Togo is doing a campaign for blood donation.
Blood donation. Wow, I'm a regular blood donor actually.
Okay, that's good. I think we can do also those kind of campaigns about mental health. And it's also possible for a company to be in partnership with a psychologist or therapy, so that every employee inside the society, every time they have like mental health issue or they have wounds on their heart, they can speak out and be helped.
I think since I came here, apart from blood donation and breast cancer, I don't really see much campaigns.
Actually, there were campaigns. There are campaigns. It's true that mental health is not really
focused on.
Yeah, right. But I believe in the past years, a lot has been done. EcoBank, the group EcoBank, in 2021, really focused on mental health. There was a webinar. It's true that with the COVID, there was no real like in-person activity, but there was really this webinar, and I believe with time, people are getting to focus on it. As I said, people know when it is about breast cancer and things like that, the doctor will come, they will use machine, they will do this. But when it's about mental health, mental health, the truth is that mental health, we see it in every field of our life. When it comes to breast cancer, you need a psychologist so that you can really accept that you are going through this and you're able to face the challenges. In the workplace, there's mental health. In your love life, there's mental health. In everything, aspect of our life, mental health plays a role. But the truth is that because we cannot really see, we do not touch, we do not, it's something that we feel, and sometimes we are feeling it and nobody sees. Maybe I'm here, I'm experiencing a lot of stress, but you guys are not seeing it. So it's, it's just something that we do not see. So it's so difficult for people to really connect with that kind of challenge.
Okay, well, time wouldn't really permit us. I will take very short answers from you on this last question. What mental health resources and support systems do we have? Where can people go to? What can they do when they have issues with mental health? Just briefly.
When if you face mental health issues, you just have to see a specialist. Simply, psychologists, or for Christian people, they have something that we call relation d'aide. Help relationships or something like that. That can be very useful. And in Togo, we also have structures that like Institut Supérieur des Études Chrétiennes that has something like that.
That's more on the religious aspect.
Yes, religious aspect. But most of the public health service has professionals that is dedicated to the psychological issues.
So I'll come with Ms. Osien.
Maybe I don't know professional like therapist or psychologist, so I always recommend people to talk to maybe their parents. At least you can trust your parents.
But imagine your parent is the cause of your mental health.
I don't think so. I think most of the parents love their children. So if I can speak out to my dad or my mom, maybe through her or him, I can find
the help that you need.
Maybe I can't reach like a professional right now, but I can at least speak to someone close to me.
Okay, so Miss Peace,
so I would say if you speak to someone that you trust and still you are not feeling better after throwing out the emotions that you have in you, it's important to go to a mental health professional. And they are like in health centers. So in any health center, you will see, especially when you are facing suicidal thoughts, it's important to go to any health centers, whether it's a little health center or the public or whatever. You can also have people that have their own little clinics, like psychological clinics. We have a few in the country, and we have also with my organization, we have psychologists that listen to people and do a lot of follow-ups. So yeah.
There is also an aspect. It is also important to talk about preventive way, because we didn't talk about that sufficiently. Our lifestyle actually is also a factor. So we just have to have a good lifestyle, avoid alcohol, drugs, etc., and take time to rest, practice sports. That can be also, and go to spaces that people used to talk, places that where you can advertise. It is very important. Not only work.
Should be among people.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Eat healthy, do exercise, sleep
in
well.
addition to that, I will say the same way we are taking care of our body, like to be healthy, we eat well, we exercise, and we rest. We should do the same thing about our mental health
since
also.
we cannot carry the brain out.
So when we say eating good food is not only rice and lapat, those kind of things. For your mental health also, you should eat healthy things, like the lectures,
vegetables,
you are going to, you are listening to, the conversations you have, the people,
things that will nourish the brain.
Yes, that we need that. And also, like, we exercise our body, we should also not be afraid of going through difficulties. It's not how can I say it, easy for a Togolese, maybe like me, to attend a full TV show in English from the beginning to the end. You understand? So somehow it's a challenge for me, but I should do that to build myself, to become greater. So I think we should also learn to overcome difficulties in our life. And for the last, we should rest. Rest is
very important.
Trust someone that you can, talk to. You can release on that person. So that's somehow what we recommend in mind education, as a mind education trainer.
So thank you very much, Mrs. Seira Madiako, Miss Ocean Jaku, and Miss Peace Vera Haji. I'm very honored to have you on the show and for the very great insight you've given us. So we are wrapping up another episode of The Key Point for this week. Mind you, mental health isn't just a topic. It has to be a conversation that we have every day. And we should be able to foster an understanding, give an opening, an opportunity for conversations so that the general well-being of the brain will be a concern for everybody. So you can watch The Key Points every week, every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Catch a repeat same time on Sundays. And on YouTube is The Key Point playlist. You can also follow us on Facebook, The Key Point with double I. Stay tuned for another episode next week.